Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Awakened Leaders Book Talks. My name is Aeriol Ascher, and I have the honor and privilege of being here today with some of the authors from the Awakened Leader Book Project, due out April 20th, 2022. I would love to introduce you to our wonderful authors. Here we go. Today you will be hearing from the amazing April Shoemaker, Laura Schoolcraft, and Beth Proudfoot. I am so very excited to have you lean in today and hear what these amazing authors have to say. We are so excited about this book launch. And another thing that I should take just a moment to mention here, that the Empowered Self-Care, or excuse me, Awakened Leaders, Empowering Stories of Self-Healing, Triumph, and Transformation will be launched on April 20th, 2022. And for just that brief 24-hour period, we will be offering it for the very special price of $1.99. So be sure to check all social media, be following all of our authors to get that link to get your copy for just $1.99. Now, before I go into our talks today, I would love to read to you our book mission of the Awakened Leaders Book Project. I think it's really important to lean in and let everybody know this is something that as a group we connect around this every month on our monthly calls. We've been working on this book project for a little bit over a year. Some of the authors have been on for as long as a year, putting their energy and putting their time and sharing their hearts and their stories with everybody. Let's read our book mission here. The purpose of this group book project is to raise the consciousness of our planet by empowering as many people as possible. By stepping forward as awakened leaders, we offer hope, inspiration, and guidance to others as we evolve into a more enlightened way of being and a more purposeful way of living. By sharing our stories of self-healing, triumph, and transformation, we hope to empower others to live to their highest potential. It is our belief that by co-creating our project as a collective, we can reach and empower the most people, and in doing so, heal the planet itself. So I just think that it's such a great mission, and to get everybody focused in here today before I introduce our authors to you, I just wanted to share that with you because it's just, it's very near and dear to my heart. Anyway, so each of our authors is going to just take a brief 10 minutes to introduce themselves and talk about why they decided to step forward at this time as an awakened leader, why they thought it was good timing, and what our readers can hope to expect from their chapter. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the ladies away to backstage and bring forward the fabulous April Shoemaker, who's going to be first on our fanfare today. April, you and I have been friends for a long time. I was absolutely delighted that you wanted to come forward and share your humor, your wisdom, and your heart with us in this Awakened Leaders project. It's so wonderful to have you on board. I love your way of shooting straight from the hip, calling things just how they are, and your inquisitive nature chapter about the nature of humans and what's going on. I really, really love your chapter, but I'm not going to spill the beans. I'm going to let you tell the audience a little bit about what they can expect to find from your chapter. Okay, go ahead, April. You've got about 10 minutes. Please introduce yourself to the audience so that they can get a feel for what they can expect.
You ask why we wanted to be part of this project. I think that it's something to jump right in, and I certainly grew a lot in the writing of the story as well as preparing for today. It's like just keep digging deeper, which is always exciting. So my name is April Shoemaker, and I'm going to introduce you throughout my thing rather than in the beginning. I don't really have much to say in the beginning, but just to get to know me through my story. So my chapter begins with the decision I made when I was 8 in the heat of anger. I decided to quit on life and just adapt and endure instead of trying to figure out my mother, my family, why I felt so empty at school and church. And I invite you to look at areas of your life that involve young conversations and possible decisions you made when you were young as you read my chapter, which I call One Decision Can Change Your Life. Surprisingly, it might not be some horrible thing that happened to you to explain your unworkable behavior. It might be something simple that occurred as part of growing up, like mine was. Could be your mother yelled at you, your father punished you for something you didn't do, or maybe you felt your siblings got treated better. And we made decisions that shaped our lives. My choice to adapt and endure was a fairly natural decision, as you know, home and school were designed to have us comply and follow directions. In preparing for this talk, I realized that part of my decision led me to give up creating games and throwing my heart into my activities. I adapted to whatever I was told to do and endured things I didn't like. Most of us learn to do that. The problem is that I gave up looking at what I wanted, and I gave up the idea that I had a choice in the matter. I learned to become invisible and hypervigilant for signs of danger. I learned how to stay safe and quiet in the background. I learned to settle for scraps and use makeshift solutions to survive. Anyone relate? I thought so. My son captured the essence of school and work when he was in kindergarten, and he complained, well, how would you like being locked up all day doing stuff you don't want to do with people you don't like? I was like, that was my day. So I think awakened leadership is using your superpowers. So one of my talks available on my YouTube channel, which is under my name, came from looking at why villains cause so much damage before superheroes jump into action. Without looking at the good and evil aspects, I saw that villains love their superpowers and find massive ways to use them. Heroes, on the other hand, are usually hiding their superpowers, often embarrassed by them, and are waiting for problems to fix. How do you discover your superpowers? I think the adaptive skills we honed in childhood shows up as weaknesses and wounds to us, but these become our superpowers. Being hypervigilant can be used to see what is wanted and needed when you're supervising an event from the back of the room or speaking to a group from the stage. I learned not to trust my 5 senses or what people said, which heightened my intuition in hearing the message underneath the words. When I made the decision to adapt and endure at age 8, a split also occurred where part of me went underground with my ideas. Even today, I get the slightest hint of disapproval or someone doesn't understand. I adapt by hiding what I'm doing. This has stopped me from waiting for approval, which I think is a great superpower. I'm one of those people who would rather apologize after the fact than seek permission first. Are you a villain creating big games with your superpowers, or are you waiting for problems to fix, hiding who you are? Awakened leadership is thinking outside the box. When I got pregnant, I didn't know how to parent a child for a future we can't predict, or isn't done the way my parents did it, or the opposite. I needed to find a new path, and so I began relating to my son as a person, treating him with respect and asking what would empower him, and I did that. This totally bypassed the residue of my upbringing and supported him in following his inner voice, growing up self-confident, self-reliant, happy, and knowing he's loved unconditionally, all things I felt I was missing. Awakened leadership involves getting present, relate to others with respect, and look for ways to empower them. When my son was 2.5, he demonstrated a powerful sense of self when he interrupted my rushing to get to the store. It was hot out. I didn't want to go. I'm overwhelmed with all the things I need to do. And he stops and says, "You can't just throw me in the car. You need to ask." It's like, I just stared at him. Every inappropriate thought went through my head, as well as common parenting responses like, "Just do what I say and get in the car." But I stared at him and just noticed all my disempowering thoughts of wanting to rebel, tell him he can't tell me what to do. It's not even up to me. And why should I have to ask him? It seemed like I stared at him for a really long time when I finally said, "I'm sorry for throwing you in the car like the diaper bag. It's not up to you whether we go to the store or not, but in the future, I'll let you know what I have planned, okay?" And he was happy with that, jumped right in the car. He just needed to be heard and respected. And I think that's how we can best lead. At 23, my son asked me to write a parenting book on how I empowered him differently than other kids. Although I had wanted to write a book since I was in 6th grade, I resisted because I'm thinking, who am I to write a book about parenting? I was only present to my perceived failures. I should have been nicer, more patient, had more money, taught him 2 languages before he was 4. I had a long list of the ways I failed. Thank goodness he came back to empower me. It was only in the writing of the book that I see that I did something unique by asking my question, which always elicited age-appropriate answers related to who my son was growing up to be and his evolving personality. When I complained I felt like a failure as a parent, he said, "I turned out. You did a great job." Who says that? One of the tests of your leadership is when it's duplicated. Excuse me. When my son was 27, I was struggling financially, and he created a file called Operation Mom with a slew of ideas for me to pursue to create income flow, including rideshare. I had never heard of it. He thought it would fit my personality and was scalable. He told me to fill out the application for Uber before he came to town. He flew in on a Sunday, and during that week, he sold my old car, helped me buy a new car, guided me through all the steps of signing up for Uber. And by Thursday of that week, I was driving. It blew me away how fast and efficient he did everything without judging me. I think awakened leadership is trying new things and doing things that scare us. We often think our leadership must be big things and we need to know everything before we begin, but it's usually just taking the next step that's in front of us to do. For instance, that first day I'm sitting in my car and I'm thinking, I'm from Detroit. We don't pick up hitchhikers. And I've never used the iPhone before. I don't know what an app is. In fact, this is my first video game of any kind. And I'm like panicked. How will I know how to do it right? My phone starts beeping with a request and my heart leaps. Someone needs me. This is my personality. So it was my own personal bat signal in the sky. I had 10 seconds to respond. Now it's a scavenger hunt to find my passenger. Every aspect of this is new. Uber is so new, it doesn't even know that part of it is a GPS. It's calling street saints and drives doctors to further confuse me. Turn left on Main Saint. And then this cute guy I just dropped off left his phone in my car, and he's calling me from another phone. I start driving to return it, and I realize I should let him know who I am and that I'm returning his phone. I use my microphone to text since I'm already driving. I go, "This is April, the Uber driver." My phone texts, "Hey, bro, how about dinner?" Now I'm really freaking out thinking Siri is reading my mind. I still drive for Uber and Lyft part-time, and I love the opportunity to use my intuitive skills to support my passengers if they're upset or nervous about going on a job interview. I often share funny stories about my parenting experiences or talk to them about the cash flow game that taught my son how to succeed in developing passive income. Every time I share about the game, I feel like I'm planting seeds for them to become millionaires too. It's like every time I identify an overwhelmed empath in my car and tell her how to get grounded and imagine boundaries around herself so she won't absorb other people's emotions, I feel like I've empowered someone to protect themselves and use their gifts. So today, I'm going to offer you a gift. In case you haven't gotten freed from the command to adapt and endure, I'm going to give it to you now as part of the rites of passage into adulthood you should have received. Imagine you're 18 years old and ready to go out into the world. Your parents apologize for the restrictions they put on you and tell you you now have permission to follow your heart, act on your inner guidance, pursue your own interests, and to be creative. It's time for you to find out what you want and realize you have a choice in the matter of your life. You have permission to own your power and to be brave, bold, and visible. You now have graduated into adulthood, so go forth and multiply. So if you've heard anything in my talk that strikes a chord, please reach out to me. I'm interested in working with people who want to dive deep to heal their wounds so we can all be part of Awakened Leadership. Thank you.
April, you crack me up. I just love it. I can't. Hey, bro, how about dinner? Oh my gosh, it just does not get any more real or better than that. While we're on the subject, let me show you, we do have some Insta fans. Paula Pacheco, who I know you know, is on the line. And she says hello to everyone. She's so glad to be on the broadcast. She's on, looks like she's on YouTube watching the broadcast. So we really appreciate you. Paula will be speaking in our next program in part 5 of our 5-part program. And look at this. Matthew Noonan is on the line. Wow, I can't wait to read your chapter. You're amazing. You know, I tend to agree with you. Matthew, and say hi to Cathlene. I'm sure she's close by. But April really is amazing. I mean, she really is. You can tell she has a sense of humor, and she really has a heart to understand people and their behaviors. It was really, really wonderful. Just my opinion, just the peanut gallery out there, just my opinion. But I bet that some of the other authors feel the same way. Let's hear from Beth Proudfoot. What did you think of April's presentation? And now that you've heard a little bit more about what her chapter is about, what are you thinking over there, Beth?
I'm so impressed, April. The thing is that we learn from our parents either way. We either learn what to do or what not to do. Yeah. And you kind of learned both in a very deep and powerful way, which I think is just so magical. And I just have to tell you, I've got those letters after my name, and I do parenting. I'm not a parenting expert. It doesn't matter. It's what you've deeply experienced and how you've experienced the results from what you're doing. That's just so powerful. And I'm so impressed with what you're doing. I talk to Uber drivers too. I tell them all my problems.
I think that I've shared this with April before, but I was doing a little bit of traveling before the shutdown. I was doing a little bit of traveling, and I had really weird Uber karma, and every one of my Uber drivers was had a degree in philosophy. I met all these metaphysicians. I had a really cute yoga instructor ask me out to coffee to pick my brain about my metaphysical body, mind, soul channel. It was really weird. I met some of the most interesting people I have ever met, and it really makes me feel that the universe is telling me I'm safe and I'm protected. That my Uber drivers all have PhDs, so who knows what's going on there. It was just so interesting, the kinds of people that I was running into. And I think that those sort of mainstream angels like that are so very powerful. And I think of April like that. I mean, you will influence so many people in so many different ways. And I love your over the years watching you hone your skills as an empath and a communicator. I just really, really appreciate all of the work that you do, April. Let's see here. What do we got? April, you've got such great energy when you're speaking. Of course she does. She's hilarious, right? She is really funny. Her observations make you laugh. I love your son. Who says that? Right? Like who says that, little person? Right? Let's see. Hi, April. Cathlene here. You did wonderfully. I can't wait to read your chapter. Thank you so much, Cathlene and Matthew, who are also some of our authors. We really appreciate you guys participating in the broadcast in this way. It really makes a difference. I know you guys know because you were on the other day. It really makes a difference for the authors to have your support like that. Laura Schoolcraft, I'd love to get your thoughts, pick your brain for a moment. What did you think of April's presentation today?
Well, I thought it was so fun to hear her. And, I had chills and I had tears. I had it all, the gamut. And I just love the whole take on the things that, seemingly in your environment that were so difficult became your superpower. I mean, that is so how life is happening for you, not to you. Attitude. And I'm looking forward to reading your chapter. And, I have a son that's very similar to that. I always say out of the mouth of babes, he's definitely an older soul, and it sounds like your son is as well. And
Yes.
It's just awesome to have that type of relationship with your son, and just that intuitive listening, in that moment. To really hear how to guide your kids. We don't grow up knowing how to raise children, but if we listen to that intuitive sense, it's just fantastic. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Laura. We really appreciate that. So, April, I hope that you are feeling super positive and super proud of yourself. We love you. We can't wait to let everybody read your chapter. I'll share with the audience, the authors haven't all read each other's chapters. I'm really actually kind of the only one who is, although we do have some other authors who have given us some feedback. We do have a couple preview copies out there, and I would love to share with you one of these wonderful reviews, because I thought this was really spot on. This is from Linda Joy Ben, our friend from Down Under. She's in Australia, and she writes, "These awakened leaders share their vulnerable stories through their strength and courage in order to achieve their triumphant success personally and professionally. I'm sure you will each relate to their personal stories that will also help transform you to rise like the phoenix and to stand in your power to make an impact on generations to come." I just thought that was a really nice one to bookend after your talk there, April. It's so exciting. The energy for this book launch is really taking up speed. We're just a couple weeks out from our launch, and it's so fun to have these talks and to have everybody leaning in to tell the audience about their chapters. Thank you so much, April. I'm going to go ahead and send you backstage now. Thank you so much. And next up today, we are going to have the fabulous Beth Proudfoot. Beth, it's a hard act to follow.
It is. I'm like, oh my God. Throw that speech out the window. Try something else.
I know. Well, April has a background in stand-up comedy, and I always know that you're going to, not only are you going to get that excellent communication and that empathic sort of slant with her, but you're also going to get a heaping helping of some hearty laughs. That is for sure. So sorry to put you right after that one, but okay, so Everybody, this is the amazing Beth Proudfoot, who I met through the speaker talent search. And I was very, very impressed with her speaking style and just the mission that she's up to in life around helping families and communicating and empowering children. Actually, beautiful that you're following April, because I feel like the subject matter is so elegantly entwined. And I won't spill the beans on your chapter. I'll let you have your 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to go to my room now and just give the stage to you, Beth, to share what's on your heart, to share with our audience a little bit about why you're stepping forward in our book project now and what was on your heart and mind to share at this time.
Okay, will do. So, hi, everyone. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Aeriol. She's been an amazing leader on this amazing project. And it's been so wonderful to feel relaxed and knowing that everything's going to be taken care of. And then just get to be able to enjoy my fellow authors as we go on this journey together. So I'm Beth Proudfoot. I am a marriage and family therapist. I was actually licensed in 1985, which will give you a little hint about how very old I am, but also about how many years I've been doing this work of helping children, sometimes very little children, and their parents and their families, and the wider community. Actually, it's part of the mission. I have a little clinic here in San Jose called the Child and Family Counseling Group, where we're at 6 therapists now, all of whom are working with little kids. And part of our mission is that we're going to try to help the whole community be a better village for all of the children. It's something that's really important to me. You can't be in this business for long without being heartbroken by some of the things that happen to kids. So we just want to try, all of us, to try to do our best to make things better. And maybe that's one family at a time. And maybe that's a whole group of people at a time. Yeah. And, now that I'm in this leadership position of having all of these other therapists to work with children, which makes me feel like, oh, the children are taken care of. I have been exploring my own passion, which is about divorce. I just, over the years, have seen too many kids get really, really profoundly traumatized by their parents' divorce. And I don't want that to happen to anybody ever again. I myself had what's called a collaborative divorce maybe 15 years ago. That was actually transformational for me. And I know led to the best kind of outcome for my children. And when I was asked to actually, after my divorce was long over, I was asked, do you want to do this work? We think you'd be really good at this work. I said, yes, of course I would, because it aligns with my passion for bringing peace to this world, helping people to resolve conflicts with respect and dignity. There has been a lot of research now showing that I should explain what collaborative divorce is. This is the village approach to helping couples through their divorce. Each person has a team. They have their own lawyer. They also have their own coach. That's where I come in. And with that team, and actually the whole team works together to just hold that family in a container, to help everyone's feelings settle, to help everyone communicate with respect, and to help the solution be what's best for the children. You can see why I love this. I love what's best for the children. It just really speaks to me. And I think a lot of my passion also comes from having been through the experience myself and understanding that it can be the beginning of something. I've held the hands of dozens of people as they were going through their divorce. And mine was a little bit different. I think everybody feels 20 different feelings all at the same time. For most people, there's a kind of a prevalence of the scared and angry, betrayed, hurt. For me, I was just sad. I was just hugely sad. In retrospect, after a long period of time after this has happened, I think part of it is because my own mother died while I was dating my first boyfriend. And I took all of that stuff that I needed from my mother and put it right onto that boyfriend. who became my first husband. And so when our marriage was breaking up, I had all of this attachment stuff that wasn't just about him that I needed to grieve for. So I was deeply grieving. I was really sad. I was the kind of sad where you don't get up off the couch for a long period of time. And I did try to do my best. I still had to get my kids to basketball practice, I had to keep going. And I did, yeah. But I kept getting dizzy, which I dismissed as being just the nature of my reality. I didn't even know what way was up anymore. But it turned out that I had a little brain tumor, so that I had to deal with too. So I remember one of the most poignant things that my collaborative divorce coach, Nancy Ross, who's still doing that work in San Jose, said to me, I know you don't have any hope right now, so I'm going to keep it for you. When you're ready, it's right here. It's in my pocket. It's waiting for you. Sorry, it makes me emotional even now. That was the most powerful thing to say. So my chapter is called Freedom from Fear. And in it, what I am attempting to do is give anyone who's going through a very deeply emotional time, right in the middle of a trauma, that little seed of hope that things will get better, they will get better, they will get better. Yeah. And in fact, I really do believe that it is these great big shakeups, these great big, horrible, awful things that happen to us. And nobody gets to escape, by the way. This is the nature of human life. Great big bad things kind of happen to everybody. And when they shake up every old belief that we used to have about the nature of reality, about relationships, about who we are and what we're doing here, well, it makes a crack through which a flower could grow. Because those old beliefs maybe weren't true. Huh? That old idea about who you were, maybe that's really not true either. There's a wonderful writer, Pema Chodron, who's an American Buddhist. I connect with her maybe because she became a Buddhist after her divorce, the earthquake of her divorce. And she talks about how it is in these, periods of crisis with everything shaken up, when we're lying on the floor and can't get up, our view is of the deep blue sky. Yes. Yes. There is a deep blue sky of endless possibilities. That bad thing that happened to you, and of course, years later, not now, because if you're in the middle of a bad thing that's happening to you, your goal is just to survive. Your goal is to maybe survive with style, do it well. It's the years afterward when we're integrating our experience, when we're trying to figure out what is a new thing to believe. Who am I really? Is there a God? What is the nature of reality? Yeah. It's okay that you had that experience, because that earthquake, that crack in the concrete is going to lead you to a new reality you never even guessed was there. You never even guessed. I guess so. That's why I wrote the chapter, Aeriol. I wanted to plant a little seed of hope. I only get to see my clients when they're right in the middle of it, and I'm just trying to help them survive with style. But what I really want to do, and what I hope I do in every case, is just plant a little seed. And this is a way of planting a seed in a bigger field, I guess. And I did want to offer a little more to everyone that's watching today. On my website, which is just bethproudfoot.com. It turns out there's not very many Beth Proudfoot, so that was an easy URL to get. I do offer a couple of talks. I love parenting talks. I love to get out in the community and talk about parenting. I'm doing a lot of my work online now, of course, but just love. And corporations now are hiring me to talk to their employees how to parent during this pandemic. And now I'm calling it parenting during the pandemic and beyond, because there are a whole bunch of unique issues that our parents did not have to deal with that we do. Anyway, I have that class. I also have a class on forgiveness. I'm starting to do more and more for spiritual groups, women's groups, people who want to have a deeper understanding of the skill that it takes. I think we all know we should forgive, but we don't necessarily have the skills. So that's what that class is about. Anyway, if you want to mention when you contact me about it to your group that you saw me on this book talk, I'm happy to give you $100 off of your fee for that class. So please take me up on that. I would love to do these talks more, and I'd love to thank you for being here and listening to these talks. And go ahead and buy that book as it comes out. So I'm done, Aeriol. I see I'm done a little bit early, but that's okay. We can bring me
You
back.
are done just in time. No, I think that's just in time,
Oh,
Beth Proudfoot. Yeah. Fantastic. Let's bring the peanut gallery back on here. Beth, you have such a beautiful way about you. I get drawn into listening to you speak, your phrasing and the dynamics of your voice are so calming, and I can just hear the caring in your heart when you share. Plus, what an amazing story, right, you guys? I mean, wow, right? Actually, let me share. We do have Cathlene and Matthew are here, our other authors. It says, Beth, thank you for your open expression. You have drawn Cathlene and I into your story. Can't wait to read your contribution to the Awakened Leaders book project. Beautifully, beautifully put. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for that. Just wonderful, Beth. Really, thank you so much for stepping forward, for sharing that powerful story that I'm sure will move so many people, and your work to help people communicate like adults through through traumatic times, right? Regardless of if it's a divorce or anything else that's going on. It's just amazing the work you do. I'm so proud to have you as part of our Awakened Leader lineup. April, what did you think?
I thought it was really interesting with, protecting our kids from the divorces is really a big deal. I know my parents got divorced before it was popular. And I think I was like 16 at the time. Ended up having to take care of all my siblings. And so it's like a challenge for everybody at different ages. But yes, very good.
Yeah, different ages and different times. Yeah, the pandemic and beyond. It's like
exactly.
It's not really the best catchphrase, but we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Laura, how did you enjoy the presentation?
Well, I think your name should have started with Hope, Beth. The amount of hope that you offer, and the compassion you have, and such an advocate for children just really drew me in. And I'm hoping that that the hope that you bring in your chapter will reach the hearts of those that are suffering, so much suffering going on, to really know that, if you can just stay with it, walk through it, that, your life will unfold. I just feel like you offered so much wonderful hope. Felt so good to listen to you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. For sure. Beth, thank you so much for your chapter. Let's see, I have another review to share. Before we get to our next speaker, I do have another review that I'd love to share with you all. This one oops, my slide isn't queued up. Sorry about that. This one from the fabulous Seema Giri, who is also a best-selling author and speaker. She's also a book compiler like myself. We do each other favors like that. So we review each other's books. And she said, the Awakend Leaders book is an amazing collection of stories that inspires you to break free and embrace your own leadership so that you can shine your brilliance with your gifts. I think that is absolutely true, and I hope that our audience is chomping at the bit to lean into our book coming out on April 20th. I might as well do another plug for that there. So I hope that everybody is just anxiously waiting and will lean in at that time. Okay, now it's time for me to send a couple people to your room. Thank you so much, Beth, and thank you, April, for joining us. Now I would like to introduce everybody to the fabulous Laura Schoolcraft. Now, Laura Schoolcraft came to the book project through our another author, Dr. Beth Halbert. You may remember that she spoke on our first week of the Book Talk series, and it's been such a pleasure to work with Laura. You can tell by her thoughtful comments that she is deeply intuitive, thoughtful person, and I think you're going to like her chapter. I won't spill the beans just yet. I'll let her talk about her chapter and why she thought it was a good time for her to step forward at this time as an awakened leader and to be a featured speaker here. So Laura, I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you. You have about 10 minutes, please, to just share with everybody about your part in the Awakened Leader project.
Well, thank you, Aeriol. It's certainly a privilege to be among these amazing leaders, thought leaders. And I do consider myself a thought leader, but I've been hiding in the closet for a long time. Yeah, a long time. And no better time than now. I'm so grateful for this platform, Aeriol, that you've created. And I know all the love that you've put into supporting everyone to be on this journey. And I still have my training wheels on, but at least I'm on the bike. And that to me is a start. Today, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the chapter itself and why I chose it. I feel like how we relate to everything in our life is how we create our life. And the art of relationship, art meaning how we create. When I think of art, I think of only creating. And with every relationship we have, not just, our personal relationships, I think my number one relationship that I have is with myself. And that's probably the most difficult relationship I have. Working on, self-care and self-love is a journey for me. But also, I've always had just really great relationships with my friends and my family. I just cherish and love people so much that I relate to people so well. But there's all kinds of things you can relate to, like my work life, your career, your job. You can relate to things like money, time. And my health is another really big focus of how I'm relating to myself as I grow from one year to the next. Or there's some of the most difficult subjects like the government or paying my taxes. Or a really hot relationship that I have right now is with technology. And it's getting better. It's getting better and better, and really learning how to dance with technology. But, you know, when I look at the world events today, especially with COVID, my relationship's been really a good one, because I feel like one of the beliefs that I have embodied in my life is that life is happening for me, not to me. So it takes you from empowering your life instead of being a victim to the circumstances and the situations around you. And so for me, going through COVID had its challenges for sure. My business went from $5 million down to zero overnight. And I had to figure out a way to create something new, different, what the world needed from me in that business. So that's, been so helpful to just be able to embody that belief of how life is happening for me. It doesn't even give me an opportunity to think a negative thought, because when I look for the positive, I can see how everything around me happens for me. One of the more challenging relationships I've had is my relationship to time. And I desire a great relationship to time. I look at time as kind of similar to money, because it's kind of an energy that flows in and out. But I've always been coming my entire life from a lack of time. And I want to have an abundance of time. I want to have an abundance of time to do all the things I want to do in life. I want to create my life in a way where I never feel like I don't have time to do something. And I had to kind of look back, and much like April, you look back in your life and you wonder how these beliefs even came into being. Well, when I was growing up, I was the youngest of four. And, we all have that inner sense of wanting to be loved and appreciated. And in my family, I had a brother who he was a basketball star, and we were so proud of him. But how my little brain interpreted, how to get love and attention was to succeed and achieve. Succeed and achieve, I did. With every waking moment, I used every second of time to focus on achieving. It didn't matter if I was in high school and I was the class president or the club president or the captain of the basketball team or the captain of the softball team. I was always striving to achieve. And today, I have to continue to create beliefs that alter that, because when I'm on this trajectory of achieving all the time, there's very little time, space to really relax into life and enjoy life. I'm on this trajectory where I'm always achieving, always moving forward. It's no secret why I'm a business developer, because I'm just go from one thing to the next to the next. But I really wanted to embrace new beliefs to change the way I related to time. So I just started to say, there is enough time. Kind of felt like I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when she kept clicking her heels and saying, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. And I would say to myself, there is enough time. There is enough time. And the more I would say it, I would start to feel it. And then as I felt it, I started to see it. I started to see where there were shifts in my perception and my relationship to time as coming from lack to moving into abundance, there is enough time. Another thing that I love embracing this belief is relating to that everything is in perfect timing. And I say that as well, and I would feel that. And then I'd start to see it in my life. Like I'd start to see how, the lights would just change and synchronicity just like allow me to drive through. That parking spot would just open right up just as I approached the front door. I mean, everything seemed to be magically orchestrated by the universe on my behalf. And I just noticed to trust that everything was in perfect timing. And trust is the best thing that I can have in any area of my life to create a better relationship. And another little thing that happens for me is that there's no emergencies. It's really stopped me from rushing and making decisions out of fear when there's no emergencies. And I get to thinking about that, and there really isn't any emergencies. If I trust the universe and I trust that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, it's amazing that I really feel there aren't any emergencies. And I see I'm running out of time, so I just wanted to say that, it's my responsibility on how I relate to things, especially time, how I manage my schedule, how I say no, not now. I always have to look at what my 100% part in everything is, with my taking my responsibilities for how I relate to everything. So ultimately, it gives me freedom. Ultimately, my life becomes happy, joyous, and free. So I hope that you'll get something out of the chapter. I hope you'll be able to read The Art of Relationship and Creating Relationships that will inspire you and encourage you to accept and create new beliefs that'll set you free in your life. And the last thing I just want to say is how I relate to the future. More fun to come. Thank you, Aeriol.
More fun to come. I will second that. I don't know about you ladies, but I am all for more fun to come. Well done, Laura. I'm so proud of you and how you related to your technology of getting out and doing your talk. You have, I know you have stepped out of your comfort zone with technology a little bit, but just know that this is working for you so that your message can be delivered out to people, right? And I'm so glad that you came on board for our book project. We're so excited. Let's see, Matthew and Cathlene, you guys get a gold star for participating. By the way, so you guys out there in the romper bumper stomper boo land, you guys get a gold star for commenting on everything. Right on, Laura. We love you. We're excited to read your chapter. Right? They really felt you coming through and communicating with them. And all of the authors, right? All of the authors today, the themes were communication and standing by your decision and relating to time. All of these self-mastery, self-healing, and self-love, self-care, communication. Beautiful, beautiful theme today. I really like what we have going on. Let's see. How about April? April, do you have a couple comments for Laura? What did you think?
I think it's interesting when you look at time and money is they're just numbers, and when you can get to that so you're not getting obsessed by it. And I also remember some speaker had said, didn't your calendar come empty? Mine came empty. Who filled yours? Then we start feeling like a victim of our calendar, and it's like, oh yeah. So I always love that and remember that. And I'm like, I can delete things from my calendar too. And yes, I think it's really great to be looking at that. So good. I can hardly wait to read your chapter.
Yeah, it's always good to keep all that in perspective. I'm a little bit of a daytimer. Yeah, I'm a daytimer aficionado myself. I enjoy time management. I'm cut from a weird cloth. I really enjoy. I don't know how it works. How about you, Beth Proudfoot? What did you think of Laura's beautiful presentation, how she shared her heart there?
It's just so beautiful, Laura. You know, it looks like you're sitting in front of the closet. To me, it's like,
I
yes,
am.
I'm
I
outside.
am. I wanted to open the closet.
And come on out. Come on out.
You have such an amazing energy. It's very earthy. It's very real. I love what you said. I have a hot relationship with technology. And I totally got the double entendre there, even if you did not. I love the way that you think, and I think it's so true that we create our own reality by what we tell ourselves about the nature of reality. And I love how, and I've seen this to be true in my life too. When you change your belief about what you're telling yourself about whatever it is, things change, things happen, things open up. And I wrote them down. There is enough time. Life is happening for me. These are going to become my affirmations too, because I want what you got. So that was awesome. Really, really cool. Really cool.
And Laura, you've got a fan. Great job, Laura, from Ashley. A shout out from one of our audience members. Thank you, Ashley. We really appreciate you tuning in, and we really, really appreciate everybody's comments. So thank you so much for that. So Laura, I hope you are really proud of yourself and that you are feeling fine. You're going to be flying on cloud 9 after this under your belt. It's really, really great. Okay, you guys. Hey, guess what? I have one more. Review from our peanut gallery. Andrea Lewis, who is a woman I was put in touch with by one of our other authors, and I was very impressed with her work as a writer, poet, and essayist. She was a co-author in a collaboration called The Truth That Can't Be Told. And I just loved what she had to say, and I wanted to bring it in the energy of the show today because it really rang true for me, and I'm so proud and wanted to share it with the authors that are with us today. I can't but applaud the strength of the leaders who have unveiled their vulnerability and offered their stories for others to take inspiration as they go through their own life-changing transformation. Awakend Leaders offers something relatable for each reader. Read and be inspired. For sure. I just think what we have to offer is such a beautiful collection, a beautiful tapestry of stories. They're really beautiful. I'm so excited for everything. I just want them to come out because I can't take it anymore. It's like Christmas. It's like Christmas, but in April. So anyway, so I have very much enjoyed working with the authors, and I just wanted to go around the room one more time today, just to leave our audience with a little tidbit, a little something, something uplifting, or anything you want to share to the audience before we sign off for today. So I'm just going to go around the room. April, did you have anything that you wanted to share before we sign off for today?
Oh, I just want people to look for their superpowers. So one way is to all those compliments that you brush off. Oh, those are your part of your secret to your superpowers.
So that deflection. Okay. That is definitely something to look for today. And April will touch on that. You can be sure and catch some more information and some more tidbits from April if you lean into her chapter at our book launch on April 20th. Remember that you can get that book for just $1.99 in that 24-hour window. So be watching social media for our cues of where to follow and where to get your copy. How about Beth Proudfoot? I sure would like to hear from you. What juicy tidbit can you leave us with today?
Gratitude. I
Mm.
think that gratitude is like an antidote for like almost everything. And if you didn't have a set of wonderful affirmations like Laura, and you just stayed in gratitude, that would make a huge difference. It's sometimes hard to remember, but so important. As soon as you switch to gratitude, now you're in your wisdom. Now that you're in the part of your brain that knows that there's a great big giant universe out there that knows that you're not responsible for everything that happens to you. And I don't know, there's something magical, I think, that no matter what's happening, get into gratitude and things will get better.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that, Beth Proudfoot. We can't wait to hear more and unleash your chapter onto the world. All right, Laura, Schoolcraft, what do you have to leave us with today?
Well, it's so easy to see the areas in your life that are working and that you have a great relationship with. And the areas that you don't, it's so easy to just look into it and say, what is my relationship to technology? And how much does it bring me? You know, how much good and ease and effortlessness it brings me. So just looking at just one area of difficulty and really changing that belief can really open every door and really shift your relationship.
That is for sure. Hey, we got a second that emotion here from Donna says, great job, Laura. Good job. And another one here, we're getting some more comments coming in, and I want to make sure that I give everybody a shout out. Paula Pacheco, thank you everyone for such sage wisdom. Well, Paula, we're looking forward to hearing from you next week on part 5. Okay, everybody, it's just about time for me to wrap this thing up. I'm going to say it one more time because I can't say it enough. Our book launch will be on April 20th. Watch social media, follow these authors to make sure that you get your link so that you can get this amazing compilation for just $1.99 in that 24-hour period. We want to make sure that we reach and touch as many people as possible. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and send my beautiful friends to their room. This is Aeriol Ascher from Body, Mind, Soul TV and Media Network. I want to thank you for being here today. I know that our lives get so busy, but we really appreciate you leaning into our program today. So that's it for now, signing off.